The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys!
Blowing out of the backfield, exploding down the sideline.
This is Hangin' with the Boys, presented by Wingstop, where flavor gets its wings. Now, your hosts, Nate Newton, Kurt Daniels, Jesse Holley, and Shannon Gross.
Looking live, Tostitos Championship Plaza, where it still looks like Christmas. Outside Ford Center at the Star. Frisco, it's 47 degrees. It feels like 43. Hell of a lot warmer than it was yesterday. The high today is 51. The low tonight is 31 after a chilling Cowboys loss yesterday at AT&T Stadium. First off, how are you today, Kurt? Kurt's in studio with me today.
Doing good, yeah. It's, for considering yesterday.
Sitting in the big man's chair.
Oh, I know. It feels weird.
Nate's not here with us today. He has he had something he's got to do at the request of me, so it's my fault.
Oh,
and then
interesting.
We'll talk about that maybe tomorrow.
Okay.
And then Jesse's joining us live remotely. And guess what? Jesse, that doesn't ever wear a hat, is wearing a hat today. Imagine that. He does wear hats.
I wore a hat for you today, man. I wanted you to see what I look like with a hat on, so you can stop confusing me when I don't have a hat on.
Thank you for supplying me with that visual. So, Kurt,
yes, sir.
What the hell happened yesterday, man? What is wrong with this offense? Because I know once Jesse starts talking, he ain't gonna stop. So let's me and you get it in now. Like what did that?
Was not the statement we wanted, was it?
It's not. It's not. What happened from your vantage point?
It just looked like they again, after last week against Washington where they just dominated, you thought, well, they finally kicked it, they found their rhythm, but man, they came out again. Dak looked tentative. They just everything from the running game to the play calling to again, Dak, it didn't quite sync up until it was too late.
Yeah, they kind of got it going.
Yeah.
But even when they got it going, it didn't really feel like they got it going.
Right. And so it was just a disappointing effort all the way around. And I know the refs were getting a problem, and a lot of them blamed the refs afterwards or threw some criticism at them. But overall, it just wasn't the same team as the week before.
No.
Of course, it wasn't the same opponent as the week before.
No,
either.
this team actually, you know what's scary? This team was really banged up, too.
Yeah. Lost 3 straight.
No Hopkins, no Connor. One of their best
Left
offensive
tackle,
linemen
yeah.
was out. So, you didn't even see this team at full strength, and they beat you.
Yeah.
They were the better team. They outplayed you in every aspect of the game. Yesterday.
Yeah.
So
disappointing.
Jesse, thoughts?
The Cowboys had a prime opportunity. You heard it all week from, not just players, but your primetime player, your major players, Tank and your Dax, and all those players talked about what an opportunity this was to make a statement. What a chance this was to kind of really, put the league on notice that we don't just beat sub 500 teams, that we can beat teams that you deem good football teams. And every week, every player to a man last week talked about, this being that potential game where you could come out and do it. And they fumbled the bag. They literally and figuratively, they fumbled the bag. They came into this game. They looked lethargic. They looked slow. Another one of these games where offensively you come out and you have a slow start. You don't really, do much. You don't put any points up in the first quarter. Then you turn that around and not put any points up coming out of the half. I think, if I'm not mistaken, you probably didn't have a lot of yards in the third quarter. You didn't see the ball much in the third quarter. This team just it looked uninterested earlier in this game, and I for one, I think that Vance Joseph, I think Cliff Kingsbury, Coach Bro, they outcoached Kellen Moore, Mike McCarthy, and Dan Quinn. They had all the answers to the test, and we had none. And I think that was something that we really struggled with throughout this game, and it was frustrating to watch, and to watch this team have a prime opportunity to come out here and really, really, really put something on film to say, hey, we are primed and ready to go into the playoffs, and they didn't. And we'll talk more about what they said was the reason for it. But bottom line, you didn't come out and match the intensity and match the ferocity of a team who was desperate for a win. And you just strode out there like it was just supposed to happen.
Yeah. Do you think that, after the big Washington win, we were talking about, they got their confidence back, they got their swagger. I mean, are they back at square one now?
Back at square one. I think defensively, they played good, right? And I said it in my pregame show. My question was, what will this team be able to do defensively and offensively, so to speak, when the turnovers don't come? Will they be able to still have the impact that they've had? I mean, they had 14 turnovers in the last 4 games leading up to this game. And that's unheard of, right? To go and get 3 and 4 turnovers a game. And they had opportunities to get some turnovers in this game, and they didn't do it. And, not giving your offense extra possessions, not giving your offense short fields defensively, I don't know if that was something that they were anticipating, because you begin to expect these things when you do them for a couple weeks in a row. I don't know if they're back to square one or ground zero, but there definitely has to be some men looking in the mirror, thinking about the way to make that change.
I don't know what the answer is, but Dak something's not clicking. And I don't know what it looked like on TV, but it seemed like, I don't know if it was hesitation. I don't know if it was confusion. I don't know if it was he looked inaccurate most of the day. Mm-hmm. Like the long ball basically was non-existent yesterday, and it looked, I don't know if it was a communication thing where guys were cutting routes off or what, but it just seemed to me like he was missing a lot of throws, and I don't know what the cause of that is.
Yeah, that's the big mystery, isn't it? I mean, he says he's healthy, but he hadn't been the same since missing that game with the calf injury. But I thought the same thing. He looked tentative at times. I mean, Budda Baker should have had a pick 6 on the second possession. He had another interception that was negated because of a penalty. I mean, he didn't always get some help from it. I think there was a couple more drops in there, and the offensive line, they had their flags at inopportune times. But again, I thought the same thing. He didn't look like the same guy.
As our resident skill position guy, Jesse, what are you seeing from Dak? Is it play calling? Is a lot of this on Dak? Like, what are you seeing on the offensive side of the ball?
If we're just talking about the game yesterday, I think Vance Joseph put together a phenomenal game plan for his defense.
They were moving around like crazy, like in and out, dropping back, faking blitz.
I listened to Budda Baker in his post-game interview, and he said, "Yeah, we wanted to disguise it. We didn't want to give them. We wanted to give them static looks. We wanted to start one way and burst to something else. We wanted to move. We wanted to muddy things up. We wanted to make the picture very cloudy for Dak Prescott. And one of the things that you saw is Dak didn't have the answers to the test. Is that they lined up and gave him different looks, and Dak had no answers. And that's why you saw the hesitancy. That's why you saw some of the balls be misplaced, some of the balls be dirted. Kurt, to one you're speaking about, Budda Baker should have had a pick 6. Yeah. I mean, you talk about a guy knowing the answers to the test. He saw that lineup. He saw that formation. He knew it was coming, and he ran a route better than the receiver. And he did everything but catch the ball. I mean, that goes to show you that there are some things that they're seeing on film that is so evident and so blatant that teams, and I hate to say this, but it reminds me of Jason Garrett. I remember playing for Jason Garrett and standing there and hearing guys say, "Oh, he's +2 on the numbers. Here comes the Harvey route." And I'm like, damn, the Harvey route is actually what they called. And to be able to see stuff like that's great film study from a guy like Budda Baker. There's a reason why this guy is all pro. This is the reason why this guy is a perennial Pro Bowler. But this is what you're going to deal with. You're going to deal with much more advanced guys and Pro Bowl caliber guys and all pro caliber guys as you head into the playoffs or when you play these good teams. And they confuse that. You know, we make jokes about, who was that? Sam Darnold a couple years said he was seeing ghosts. Dak was seeing things out there, and it wasn't the right things that he was seeing, and it made him have to pause for calls before he let the football go to some of his pass catchers. And you know, one of the things that I briefly said on Twitter last night, you know, after watching the Sunday night football game, I said Dak, Kellen, and Amari Cooper need to order some pizza. They need to sit down, and they need to watch how Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers gets the ball to their number one receiver. Like, I don't understand how Amari Cooper can have 3 catches for 18 yards in a game.
Yeah.
I don't understand how Cedric Wilson, who played less plays and came in a backup role once Michael Gallup goes out, was 6 for 6, had 6 targets for 6 catches. Now, he only had 35 yards, but the fact of the matter is, this is a guy who, Michael Gallup, had 3 catches and didn't play the rest of the game. I mean, there are things that I'm seeing. Tony Pollard had 3 catches. Dalton Schultz had 6 catches. There's no way you're telling me that you're paying this guy top 3 NFL money and you're targeting. And is Amari Cooper sorry to you guys? Like, is Amari Cooper not one of the best route runners we have in the National Football League? Why do we treat him as if he's just a jag? Why do we treat him as he's just another guy that should fall in line with the rest of the receivers? Yeah. It's mind-boggling to me that this coordinator doesn't scheme up plays to get him the ball. And it's mind-boggling to me at times why this quarterback doesn't come out here and do what the great elite quarterbacks do. And I'm being very, very, very I'm antagonistic when I say elite quarterback. What the elite quarterback does and say, you know what? I'm going to get the ball to my best receiver and one of the best players on my team when those matchups happen and when I think that he needs to get the ball. But for Amari Cooper to go an entire game, and this is just not this one game, and I hate when people say, well, it was a cover 2 shell, it was this coverage, it was that coverage. Like, first of all, be quiet. Please be quiet. Because you don't know what you're talking about. And just because it's cover 2 shell, because you heard someone say it on TV or you heard someone say it at the barbershop, there are routes that you can run in cover 2 to get Amari the ball. There's a route you can run for Amari in double coverage. You watched Devontae Adams last night. He caught passes from the slot, the left side, right slide, slants, back shoulder fades, over across the middle. I mean, they line him up everywhere. He runs every single route. And they find ways schematically to get him the football. I just don't know why they don't do it on this football team. Their best receiver.
Are you going to break?
I was going to break. Okay. What's your question? And then we'll answer it when we come back.
Just
tease it. It's called a tease. Tease it up.
I love teasing. It was just more about Cooper. I mean, they made such an emphasis of we're going to get him going against Washington, and then he just disappeared this game.
Yeah. All right. Kurt, the teaser with 5 kids. I don't think that's called teasing, Kurt. I think that's called getting after it. We will get after it once we take our first break. On the People Show, we'll be back with Womp Womp, Cowboys. What do we even call this?
I don't know. A loss, a defeat.
Debacle.
Worrisome Monday. Manic Monday. I don't know. Something. Let's get our thoughts on, like, what I want to know what you do this week. Because things aren't right on this offense. You're playing a game that really doesn't really mean anything to you this week. Normally you would say, hey, let's rest some guys. Let's rest Zeke. Let's get him healthy. Let's rest Tyron and get him healthy. But you got some things that aren't clicking on offense. Do you play these guys this last game and hope till you get some kind of rhythm going? What's your play calling look like? You want to kind of vanilla it down so you don't give away everything for the playoffs, but I mean, the non-vanilla stuff's not working, so you kind of need to work on that. Like, what would you do heading into this game? We'll find out that stuff and more when we come back on The People Show. Hanging with the boys.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, yo quiero guacamole.
Brace yourself for an existential question. Has your butt been having enough fun lately? Have you been treating it well? Has it been going places? If not, then it's about time you start using SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the best way to get your butt tickets to live events. Just ask the thousands of other butts who have rated it the #1 ticketing app. So what are you waiting for? Download the app now or visit SeatGeek.com to get tickets to sports, concerts, and live events and make your butt happy. SeatGeek. Get your seat in a seat.
How great would it be to travel to watch the Cowboys win on another team's turf? Pretty great. But honestly, just watching the game from anywhere but your house would be fun. Even a hotel bar with some guy named Phil from St. Louis who thinks Oakland still has a team. So whether you're traveling to the game or watching from your favorite vacation spot, book a place to stay on Hotels.com. Proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey, Cowboy fans, if you're thinking about attending a game this season, visit CowboysTravel.com to book your travel package today. Stay at the team hotel, have dinner with a Cowboys legend, and experience the best sports venue in the world, AT&T Stadium. Also, tour the Star, get autographs from your favorite players, and talk X's and O's with me, Mickey Spagnola. The official travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys will take care of all your travel needs. Visit CowboysTravel.com to book your package today.
Back to Hanging with the Boys.
Welcome back to the show, the People Show, Hanging with the Boys. And you know what? You need to get the ultimate fan experience for the ultimate Cowboys fan. Join the Dallas Cowboys United Fan Club presented by Globe Life, starting at just $20. Join now and get your fan pack, exclusive benefits, and more. Visit DallasCowboys.com/United for details and to join today. All right, fellas. Kurt, what do you want to talk about?
Well, you had a nice tease, sir. What were you talking about?
I was going to kind of leave that for the last segment.
Oh, okay.
We can talk about it now because I want to know. I want to know what y'all think. Like, there's obviously things that need to be fixed on this offense. You can start with, okay, Zeke and Tony Pollard rush for a combined 25 yards.
How does that even happen?
I don't know. I think Zeke had, 16 yards or something total?
Yeah, Dak's your leading rusher.
Amari, like you said, Jesse, Amari's, not even hardly in the game plan. It looked like they were going to get him back on track after last week because they went to him early and often, and then now he kind of just disappeared. And you got some
one catch in the first half.
One catch in the first half.
Lamb had one catch. And how do those two guys combined get one catch each in the first half?
Because you don't complete any passes in the first half. That's how it happens. But you got some issues on offense. You got some things you need to figure out. Normally, I would say you need to rest guys this game to get them healthy, get them ready to go in the playoff, maybe play them a half and then get them out of there. But what do you do this game? Do you work on your issues at game speed? Do you try to get guys healthy? What do you do?
I saw Hellman tweeted that he would play it like a preseason game. I don't know. I mean, like you said, there's just so many things to work out. I think there is still some scenarios to play for. I mean, it's kind of a long shot to move up from the 4th seed, but there's still a chance. And I think you don't know what's going to – you're playing Saturday night now, so,
That's such horse crap, man. I'm so mad about that.
You don't know what's going to happen Sunday. So I don't think you can go out there and just give it up and feel like, whatever. I think you got to go out there and play them and play hard. Now, can they fix it in a week? They haven't fixed it in 17 weeks. I'm not sure.
What would you do, Jesse? What would your game plan be?
Yeah, y'all playing. Y'all playing. Everybody's playing. Like, everybody's playing. We have not done enough this season on a consistent basis for any coach to feel comfortable enough that they could rest starters. Yeah. Like, you rest starters when you've clinched and you've done things and you kind of feel good about yourself going into the playoffs. You don't play your starters. You're now talking about potentially going, because Philly's going to play hard. Yeah. They're going to come out here and try to win this game and keep themselves in. They got a lot to play for. So they're gonna come out and play hard. And now you don't want to lose 2 games in a row. And now you got 2 ugly feelings. Even if it's the backup, you don't want that kind of cloud hanging over your head heading into the playoffs. But on top of that, Dak needs the reps. There is something fundamentally wrong that is going on with your starting quarterback. And Mike McCarthy has said it. You don't have enough time in practice to get it done. You're now down one of your starting receivers. You need to go out there and get as much live work as you possibly can. And for whoever's you think Kellen Moore was sitting out there yesterday saying, "Nah, we're going to lose this game and drop from the 2 seed to the 4 seed because I'm holding plays back." Right? That was a narrative a couple weeks ago that this offense is just vanilla because they're holding plays back. No, this offense is vanilla because they can't complete a goddamn thing. That's why. They can't block. They can't run. They can't pass. I mean, they are really struggling to do a lot of things. And I know people are going to say, well, they found their rhythm in the fourth quarter and they came down. You have to understand how kind of football games work at times. Arizona felt like they had that game. They were up 15 points. And it just was like, listen, as long as you're going to pass the ball, we're going to tackle you. That clock's going to run, and it's going to run, and it's going to run. And we'll take that. We can't give up the big home run plays that allow you to score in a short amount of time. But if you're going to drive the ball 91 yards or 75 yards and go down to get a score, then my goodness, go ahead and do it because we're putting up a lot of clock heading down the field doing that. And then we feel good enough that when we get the ball back, and Cliff Kingsbury had a great plan because he said, I'm going to wait to unleash Kyler Murray because Kyler Murray wasn't a running threat in the first half. Mm-hmm. He was a running threat, and he was an intentional running threat in the second half. 9 carries for 44 yards, a long run of 15, and you saw him being instituted in that second half.
Yeah, no runs in the first half.
And but for this team, they need to go out there and play. They have nothing where they can say consistently that we're good here. Especially offensively, you got to go out there and try to find some way to get your mojo back because you don't have it right now, and it's glaring. It is big picture. I think Dak came out and they asked him about playing next week or something like that, and he was like, "Oh, I'm playing." You can book that on there. I'm playing, and you know what? He needs to. He really, 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 really needs to play next week. Him and a bunch of his other buddies need to go out there and play next week because they have nothing on film that you can kind of really go off of and say, hey, we're back and we're ready to go into the playoffs.
What would you do?
Me?
Yeah.
I play them.
Yeah.
I think you gotta play them. There's too much going wrong, and they're not on the same page. They're not in a rhythm, and I don't think resting them gets you any closer to being where you need to be. I think if you have at least one game left, maybe you can get some stuff working in your favor or find some stuff that's working because, I mean, it's so hit or miss right now, man. It's like 2 weeks ago you looked like you were going to win the Super Bowl and everybody's booking tickets to L.A., and this week I'm looking up trips to Mexico in between the breaks.
You were, actually.
Man, so, I mean, it's – this team it's not a bad football team. You don't win 11 games in the NFL and have a bad football team. But, I mean, this last 3-week span has been basically the season. It's inconsistent. Like, you started out of the gate gangbusters, and no one was going to slow you down. And the offense, if the defense could hold people under 40, you were going to win every game. And now it's flipped. Now it's the defense holds a pretty good offensive team to 25 points, and you can't score 26. You can't score 23.
Yeah.
So it's like this team's so inconsistent. Now, do I think they can get it together? Can they? Yeah. Have I seen any inkling of them doing it? It's like, it goes back to my argument with Nate. I needed to see it. I saw it against a terrible Washington football team.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen it since. And it worries me. I haven't seen it on offense like I need to see it. I didn't see it this week, and I'm concerned I'm not going to see it this coming week. And if I don't see it this coming week, you ain't going far in the playoffs. I mean, if the offense doesn't get something going, you're one and done or two and done. Like that, that's not what I wanted out of this team. I wanted them to win 2 or 3 games in the playoffs. And I just don't feel like right now this team can do that.
Yeah, it's so disappointing.
You know what was impressive last night for me? And there are moments in time when I watch football, and whether it's for our team or happens from the other team, there are times where I appreciate – I always appreciate good football. And what I mean by that is this game can be complex, but it's really a simple game. At its core, like, you know, it's run, pass, catch, right? At its core, it's a really, really, really simple. It's a child's game played by men who are really, really strong and really, really fast and really, really powerful. But I watched that game specifically in the first half, and Arizona defensively had a great plan. Dak had 4, maybe 5 balls batted down at the line of scrimmage. Yeah. That ain't by accident. Okay, guys? That you know, a guy getting his hands up, you know, defensive lineman getting his hands up, you know. Vance Joseph worked on that all week long. And he said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to line 8 guys up, standing up, some down, and we're going to give him a confusing look. And we're going to sometimes bring everybody. We're going to sometimes back into coverage. But when you blitz, when you take off, if you don't have a clear shot at getting to him, get your hands up because the ball's coming out hot. When he see these looks, he's going to audible, and he's going to get into something where the ball is coming out quick. So if you get in his sight line, get your hands up. Get your hands up. Let's get our hands on some balls. Let's get some tips. Let's potentially, you know, create some turnovers. But here's what we want to do. We want to confuse them. We want them guessing. We know that their line has been inconsistent with guys being in, guys being out, having the communication up front. We're going to at times send more guys that can be blocked. But if you don't have a clear direct shot to get him and bring him down for the sack, maybe you're blitzing and you're coming from the backside and you don't have a chance to get there, you know, get your hands up. But if you're coming in down the pike in the sight's view, get your hands up. Allow yourself to be big and tall and make him have to throw around you because he knows the ball is coming out hot. And by golly, every single time it worked. It worked. They batted balls down. They got tips. They almost had an interception. I mean, they had an interception. It was negated by a penalty. They just put together a masterful plan. And you would like to think that your quarterback in year 6 has seen enough looks where he's not confused, where he's seen enough looks and he has the ability to put the ball in the right places or deliver the ball to the right people. But he was confused, and his offensive coordinator was confused, and they had no answers. They literally had no answers for the Vance Joseph Arizona Cardinals test, and it showed. And it was beautiful to see on the defensive side from Vance Joseph because I'm like, wow, he's really putting together a great game plan and is working to perfection. And it's frustrating to see that we didn't have the ability to make the necessary adjustments in game at halftime. Because look at the third quarter. It wasn't too many adjustments being done in the third quarter. No. They found the gimme rhythm in the fourth quarter, but that's just the part where you try to fight off as many of the Cowboy haters as you can, and people say, well, when they play a team that is above 500 and got a couple games above 500, they struggle. They can't win those games. They can't figure things out. They may play it close and it may be ugly, but they never have enough to get over the hump. And you try to fight that off, right? You try to bring up numbers and statistics and all that kind of stuff. And then you go and you have a game like this and you go, damn, all right, well, maybe there is some truth to that. Maybe there is some truth that when they play opponents, really good opponents above 500, they can't figure out how to win these football games when it matters the most. Like that game mattered yesterday. Yeah. It mattered a lot. It mattered a lot. And you drop from the 2 seed all the way down to the 4 seed and potentially might have to turn right back around and play this same team again in 2 weeks.
That's healthy.
At home where that'll be healthy. At home at a place where, if we're being honest, AT&T is AKA Kyler Murray Stadium because he comes in there and does nothing but wins. And they feel like, you know what, we got the blueprint on them because we kind of seen them at full strength. They had all their guys. They had all their guys, offensively and defensively. We didn't. And we still were able to go in there and get a victory.
Yeah, I thought that was a little, I guess, disappointing after the game. DeMarcus was like, yeah, we want to face them again. They're going to see all we got. I was like, why didn't they see all you got yesterday? You know, that was a big game then.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
All right, let's take our last break. When we come back, more doom and gloom.
Going to look up some more trips to Mexico on the
Maybe.
break.
We'll talk about those officials.
I do want to talk to you about that.
Oh, okay. I don't want to talk about it. I'll let y'all talk about it. Official talk when we come back on Hanging with the Boys.
Brace yourself for an existential question. Has your butt been having enough fun lately? Have you been treating it well? Has it been going places? If not, then it's about time you start using SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the best way to get your butt tickets to live events. Just ask the thousands of other butts who have rated it the #1 ticketing app. So what are you waiting for? Download the app now or visit SeatGeek.com to get tickets to sports, concerts, and live events and make your butt happy. SeatGeek. Get your seat in a seat.
It's game day. You know what that means. First, kebab prep. Steak, pepper, onion, steak, pepper, onion. Next, a counterclockwise lap around the room. Now the lucky grease-stained jersey goes on. And lastly, the dance. You know the one. This is a game day ritual no matter where you are. Whether you're traveling to the game or watching from your favorite vacation spot, book a place to stay on Hotels.com and keep the tradition alive and well. Hotels.com, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching Grandma how to video call and teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
Back to Hanging with the Boys.
Oh, yeah. Your favorite WWE superstars return to AT&T Stadium for WrestleMania on Saturday, April the 2nd and Sunday, April 3rd, 2022. Get your tickets to the most stupendous two-night WrestleMania in history. Visit SeatGeek.com. The official ticketing provider of AT&T.
Very nice.
There you
You've
go.
got another career ahead of you if you.
I'm on it, man. I'm setting myself up for success after this.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
All right. Kurt.
Yeah.
You want to talk about referees?
Well, you know, I think, again, the Cowboys had to fight through that. My concern is, and the question I have for you guys, though, there was a lot of complaining about it after the game.
Mm-hmm.
Van Der Esch said quite a bit. Some of the other guys here and there.
Tank put on his Instagram and Twitter a screenshot of the fumble and CC'd the NFL on it.
Yeah, you know, I don't know how that helps, and it worries me that they're looking for scapegoats. You know, and the old saying, you know, yeah, were the referees bad? Yeah, they were bad, but you can't blame the referees for a loss. And so, it concerns me that's being thrown out there, I guess. What do you guys think?
Shannon, you want to go?
I mean, here's the deal. To me, like, take care of the business on the field. It shouldn't come down. Like, there's going to be missed calls every game, both sides of the ball. Now, I will say this. I never complained about the referees. What was the one game we had at home?
Vegas, I think.
Was it
Vegas?
Yeah, the Raiders.
Vegas.
Now, I thought that was over the top and ridiculous just because it took away from the enjoyment of the game, and it was like, okay, like this is like some of these are ridiculous.
Yeah.
But, you know, in the course of a game, I don't. There's going to be calls on both sides that are missed, and I'm like you, Kurt. I don't think you can. I'm sure you get frustrated in the heat of the moment. You're pissed and you want to blame something. I just don't think you can blame the referees for losing a game when you should have. In every right, you should have gone out and hung 35 on those guys, and then those two calls wouldn't have made a difference. Yeah. So that's where I stand on the ref stuff.
There's a couple of things that came out of those comments last night from guys I wouldn't have expected. Well, maybe I expect that from Tank, to be honest with you. But again, Micah Parsons, the youngest player on that defense, maybe one of the youngest players on this football team, had the most mature answer. And his answer was, we shouldn't have put the game in their hands.
Yep.
Not blaming the refs, not calling out the refs, saying, you know what, we had an opportunity. We should have never let it come down to the ref determining the outcome of the game for us. We should never put it in their hands. But when I hear Leighton Vander Esch and I hear Tank and I hear other guys, what that screams to me is a lack of accountability. And there's points in that game when you can say, well, maybe you win the game if your field goal kicker does his job and make a field goal.
Yeah.
Or maybe you win that game if your quarterback doesn't turn the ball over. Or maybe you win that game if you don't give up the outside Randy Gregory and allow Kyler Murray to run around the edge and convert 3 first downs in that last drive. Or maybe you win this game if you don't get tricked and have to burn a timeout, coaching staff, when he had the quarterback and the kicker on the field at the same time. Or maybe you win this game if you don't give up what would have been a pass interference anyway, but one hell of a catch on a fake punt. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are a number of things. I mean, the ball hit Tony Pollard and Zeke Elliott in the chest multiple times throughout the game. Maybe you win the game if they convert on those particular plays. And when you look at, they had 7 of their penalties were, whether offensively or defensively, were on third down. Yeah, and they were drive extenders and drive killers for the Cowboys.
Right.
And the thing about that is when you're every team does this. Every team, you come into the week and they tell you your officiating crew. And they let you know, hey, this crew calls a lot of this crew calls a lot of that. But this team all year long has been the most penalized team, one of the most penalized teams in the National Football League. So what you've earned by your being undisciplined is you have lost the benefit of the doubt. When there's a person who is in your family or in your circle who is a thief and has been notoriously known to steal, when something comes up missing, that person is always the first person you look at and you get blamed. Why? Because that person's history says you lose the benefit of the doubt of me not thinking you stole something because your history says that you steal. So for the Cowboys, you lose the benefit of the doubt on, was that a holding? Was it egregious? Was it ticky-tacky? Does it happen every single play? Maybe. But because of your a lack of discipline and these referees knowing that this team, especially up front, has been penalized and flagged a lot for holding, guess what happens when Chandler Jones comes around and he flares his arm up in the air when Tyron has his hand around his neck? He's going to get the benefit of the doubt because the ref's going to say, in the back of his mind, because he's still human, he's going to say, oh, yeah, in my study, I read or I saw or the information that's out there that the Dallas Cowboys is one of the most penalized teams in the league, and a lot of it comes from holding on their offensive line. So you lose the benefit of the doubt of getting those calls or not getting those calls because your history says that you have been undisciplined. And that's just something that this Cowboys team has to get better at. And when you know that these teams or you're facing refs that have, they'll tell you, hey, this team throws a lot of illegal man downfields more than any other reffing group in the National Football League, or this team does this, or this team this group does this, then you have to adjust the way that you play. You have to take the information you give it. It's no different than you playing against your opponent. If that opponent is blitz heavy or that opponent is zone heavy, then we adjust the way that we do things to have answers to that test. If I know that this crew, which that crew yesterday, one of the crews that caused a lot of penalties, especially holding, then I have to change the way I do business. Maybe I can't always go for the outside, or knowing that I got to let guys go or do things differently with my technique because I'm playing against a crew that's that way.
Is that a coaching thing or individual player thing?
Both. I mean, the coaches give you the information, and you would hope that you take that information and do what you're supposed to do with it. But throughout the week, coaches should, putting little reminders in your ear at practice, in film study. Hey, Tyron, look, remember, we're playing this crew that calls a lot of holding. I know that this might not technically look like it, but it can seem that way. And not trying to cut the refs any bail or any slack, but we at times have the benefit of the doubt of sitting at home in our comfortable climate or in the press box or whatever, with the ability to rewind and see things at a slow moment. And Shannon, you can kind of speak the best for this as someone who is down on that field, trying to do things in a media perspective of how fast this game is moving, right? You're trying to get photos, you're trying to get angles, and these guys are moving so fast. And this game is happening so fast. And I know you're going to say, well, there should be, coached up to do this thing. But I'll give you the fumble, for example. When you go back and you watch the fumble, not fumble at the end of the game. And yes, we have an argument on maybe someone in New York should have called that a fumble or buzz down, right? I get it. I understand it. And you have a legit valid argument for that. But go back and watch that play. The ref who has that call, as all of these 200 plus guys are coming at him, what does he do? He backs out of the way. And his viewpoint is now the backside of the play. He's not on the front side. So when he sees it and he's the one making that call, he sees this potentially body moving at warp speed, looked like he was down. So he emphatically called the play down. And the guys who are on his team supported his call because he was the closest and had that call, but he was on the backside because he moved out of the way. This is happening all across the board. Like the ref who is looking at this particular holding, he may scan one way and scan back the other way, but when he scans back, all he sees is that. That's a flag. You can say the delay of game calls, right? They look down, they look up, they look back down. These are human errors that you have in the game that, for whatever reason, yes, you have arguments in some. I think no, you have no arguments in a lot of other things. I, for one, never want to blame the refs unless it's like ridiculously egregious. But you have more than 10 opportunities to solidify this victory for your team that had nothing to do with the referees, and you didn't do it in that game. And I think it shows a lack of accountability and almost whining from a group of leaders. And I feel like when you hear it that much from those guys, I feel like that's something that the coach may have said, or not the head coach, but a coach. And it's like, it's just like attitude reflects leadership. When they all start saying the same thing, I feel like that was something that was said in the locker room by a coach to a group of guys, and they ran with it, in the post-game press conference. And, again, Micah Parsons, being the youngest guy on this football team, to me, had the outright best answer when they asked about the officials. He said, blatantly, we shouldn't have put it in their hands. And that's the best answer that you can have.
Yeah, it's amazing at game speed how many calls they get right. Yeah. Like, it's a miracle to me. Like, even the spot of the ball, as fast as, it's amazing to me how often they don't get it wrong, like, at game speed. It blows my mind. Mm-hmm. All right, we got to go. Kurt,
yes,
good
sir.
seeing you. Jesse, good seeing you virtually. We'll have Nate back tomorrow. We'll have the full crew. Chris, thanks for keeping us on the air. William, thanks for keeping the live streams up. Hopefully we're in a little bit better mood tomorrow because we got a little business to take care of up in Philadelphia.
Ooh, got to.
Yep, got to take care of that one. And we'll talk more football on the People Show tomorrow, hanging with the boys. See ya.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!